I would like to interview you.
Oh,
Tell me about yourself and how you got into channeling.
that's a really nice question. I was about 30 and I started to wake up in the middle of the night typing automatic writing
um,
and didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Thought I was crazy. And since then, I've continued to refine the understanding of channeling. So now I need to look at the camera and smile.
yes, this is Vicki O'Leary. She's been channeling since she's 30, so
Yeah.
that's 18 years now.
18 years.
Holy mackerel.
And it's an evolution on itself always. And I understand a lot about different types of channeling and whether you're accessing great information or sometimes what you channel can be a little bit like putting your finger in the sky and someone just saying, oh, there's an antenna up there, I'll tune into that, and you might be getting garbage.
Yes.
And it's important to discern what you're getting based on the quality of that knowledge because you, as a channel, are actually responsible for what you're putting out. It is not out there, it's you.
Yes, I really appreciate that. I think that's one of the things that I'm noticing is that you can find just because the person is channeling doesn't make it even legitimate in my mind, and probably not at all what you want to be hearing or experiencing or even having in your energy field. So I appreciate that.
So that's my knowledge on channeling, and I've taught channeling, but I don't do that anymore because I think that it is for the individual to have their own experiences, and that's important. And it's coming, more and more people are opening to being able to know.
They are.
And we realize as we start to channel more that it's actually ourself, our greater consciousness, our greater contact that we're picking up on. And when you start to know that, then of course you're discerning. Because if my greater self starts to talk about really not so nice things or heavy energy in me, I don't want to share that.
Right. So do you feel that if a person were to sit with themselves and say to self, higher self, I want to channel you, want to channel higher self, that the person would be to some degree channeling higher self?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So really that's what we can recommend that people do if they want to get higher information is to just really sit with self and say, I want to communicate with self.
And to allow that to come how it wants to, because your higher self may be an intergalactic being. It may be, playing out realities with different voices or intonations or methods. So you want to be able to channel yourself and not filter how that comes through. So you don't want to think that it has to come in a way that sounds like your voice or has your methods. It's going to come as it's coming. And if you've put in the message, this is my higher self, well, let it come and don't filter it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I've had many variables of myself, many variables of myself, and each one surprises me. And some I feel the resonance is higher than others, but I know that I'm discerning that I'm not picking up lower resonance. And if I do, I say thank you, but we're not playing there.
Do you ever feel that sometimes when you channel higher information, that a hitchhiker can kind of slip in while you're in a higher state of or communication with something else, that something unwanted can come along in that same energy field?
Great question. And not more recently, but certainly in the early phases of channeling, there were times when got the sense that the words sounded good, but that they weren't vibrationally. They had the right words, but not the right energy on them. And so then it was a matter of really feeling, this sounds good, but something doesn't feel right. And that's the hitchhiker, if you use that term, that's basically using the channel and the consciousness of the person, plus with the consciousness of what wants to be heard out there, to play through a message that is actually low vibration.
Right.
It doesn't sound very kind, but it's just a method of getting information, but at a lower frequency. So I've trained myself to know.
Thank you.
To know.
Yeah, I think there's a difference, and I think you do know when that's happening. But what about someone who is guiding people, and you feel like they have a hitchhiker. I mean, they have beautiful information coming through to some degree, but then you also sense that there's a control in the message, or there's judgment in the message. You mean, what would be some ways for a person to discern?
The recipient of the information
Yeah.
in the audience.
Yeah.
If you feel that from anyone, then you have your sovereign right as an individual to call that entity to show itself. So you actually are in observation of the channel, whoever that is, and you say, I see through you, and if you are not of pure consciousness that is in vibration with where I want to be, you show yourself. And in that moment, the person channeling may flicker, they may move a little bit, and what's happened then is that entity is released because it realizes that the field of energy you're holding is greater than what it's holding, and it's not a like for like match. So you actually are the one then commanding, in a sense, the caliber of the information that you are in receipt of.
Excellent.
And that then means that you're not subject to messy energies, and accepting that as truth in that moment. And you know it in yourself. When you're hearing it, you're like, this sounds fishy. Something's not resonating. And if it isn't, if you're maybe just having an off day, what will happen is you'll call it, and there'll be a piece that comes over the channel and a piece that comes over you, and you'll go, actually, this was in alignment, and I just needed to have that experience to question and allow that to be validated. But if the person is channeling and there's something messy in there, and you call it, it will lift, and you'll be right on track again. And the person may stop channeling. They may just go, oh, I feel like that session's finished, or they'll cough, or they'll choke, or something will happen, and you'll go,
wonderful,
yeah,
wonderful. I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Because
in the end, we're the ones who have to hold our own vibration in the place we want to hold it. So any information will attract to that vibration.
do you feel that if something that you're channeling, higher self, when you've asked a higher channel self, that the higher self will ever tell you there's a right or wrong way to do something?
Never.
Never. Never.
They live in non-duality, so there can't be a right or wrong way.
Right.
There can be suggestions of thinking, contemplations, think about it this way, maybe you might like to look at this, maybe this would be something for you to consider. All those sort of words, open-ended considerations that allow you to be empowered. You're the one, the God being, who is the driver of your force of life. So anything that disempowers you and takes away your sovereign right to understand your truth is playing in duality.
Thank you. I agree. I agree. And in the channelings that I've had, if it isn't like lifting me up, and when I'm done channeling, I don't feel like calm and at peace. I will feel that I haven't been where I want to be with it, or I'm not in contact with the right energy of it. So I agree with that thinking. Thank you for that.
And we should, each time we come away from a channeling ourselves or from the receipt of anyone's, we should feel lighter,
Right,
peaceful, lifted, enlightened. That's essentially the feeling you would get. Enlightened means more knowledge in vibration, more knowledge in information. So if you don't feel uplifted, then I'd be questioning your source, and
yeah, you question the source.
yeah, and then questioning yourself. What's drawing
Actually,
you
that
to
was
that
really
source?
kind of profound. You just said question the source. Thank you. Excellent.
It's been really nice to talk about
It's been
this.
nice to talk about this. Thank you. This is Vicki O'Leary and Linda Green speaking about channeling, especially if you're a beginner channeler and you're trying to understand, do I have the right energy with me or not? And Vicki has been aware enough to know that she has to lift her energy, and she has experienced things over time to know how to know. So I really appreciate your input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.